Hey everybody, it's Sarah Gustafson with Primal Fusion and CEO of Women Who Raise Hell and Make Love. I am with Alli Waddell. Soon she should be hopping in with us. She is with, here she is, boom, boom. Here she comes. Here she comes. Alli. She's with Alli Waddell Wellness and Health. She's a health coach. She's been kind of not kind of, but in the industry for 16 years, sort of exploring all the health coaching and training and nutrition and you name it. So what she does is she is a badass, basically. She's known as the chief badass. And you can find her on the Wellness Force radio podcast, and you may see her on a lot of the On It stuff, and she's all over the place, you guys. If you haven't seen her, well, you have, actually. You probably have. I'm honored to have her with us and have her join us with her voice to share with us her views and her advice and suggestions on how we can make the health and fitness industry a more empowering platform for all of us. Because, you know, as we are moving forward, we're needing a way to navigate all through the information that's out there and what's helpful and what's not, and what's real and what works for us. And with social media and all the marketing and technology that's evolving now, and the competition of marketing and branding nowadays, the health and fitness and wellness industries are having to compete to keep up with this. And what we're seeing are trends that are sort of distracting and taking away the messages of these industries and sort of replacing them with branding and visual entertainment, rather than the educating and empowering messages that we need to educate, and sort of what the wellness pros and trainers and coaches have come here to do. So let's see, we can bring Alli in there. Let's see. Alli, where is she? There we go. Yay. Difficulties. Here we go. Oh my God. Ah! Okay.
So sorry, guys. That took me much longer. I don't know what was happening. Like, my notifications weren't on. It was crazy. But we're here. So success.
We're here.
Thanks for my lovely intro. I get to hear it.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling me a badass.
You're a badass. You really are. I'm so glad that you're going to, I love talking to you about, these kinds of topics, because a lot of these things are the sort of the hot topics that a lot of people don't like to, well, they'll talk about them, but they like to skirt around them. And you're the type of badass who will just like plow right through it. And that's what I love about you, because no apologies. And it's like, you don't do it with, you do it with the fire, but you don't go about it with, judgment, putting a bunch of people down. You throw the truth out there. And I love that about you.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and I think a big conversation that we'll probably start to have, is like, you need to be boldly honest, and like boldly honest about your own bullshit, but boldly honest about what else is going on. Because I really think that is what's holding everybody back, not only from their own personal growth, but kind of us growing together. Is like, nobody's really, like, it's not about calling somebody out. It's like holding people to a different standard. And you don't do that by like shaming people. You do that by holding yourself to a different standard and then setting a different example for people. It's not this us versus them, you're doing it wrong. It's like, people are choosing to do certain things because they think that's the only way to get them done. And that's been kind of the paradigm that we've put ourselves in. But I think as an industry, I think there's a lot of people realizing that it's a little bit fucking broken.
Yeah.
Or it might be a lot fucking broken.
Yeah.
You know, there is a wave coming. Like, we can all feel it. I mean, there's a contingent of people that are like, okay, shit's gone banana pants. Like, we gotta like right the ship, you know. But I think for a long time, I think professionals have really thought that that was the only way to get it done. And so it's our job as an industry to show people a different way, not only as professionals, but then how to interact with their clients.
Yeah. You know, and that's the same thing as in with working with clients, like coaches, therapists, counselors, and even organizations are, you know, I know there's a gray area there with athletes and, you know, marketing brands, but, you know, the responsibility of working with the client or patient is, you know, skirting around issues of telling them what they want to hear versus telling them what they need to hear. You know, wanting to keep somebody because that is your source of income. So you almost want to soften the blow or just tell them what they want to hear so they'll keep coming back. But also, is that damaging you as the professional? And so that almost sort of ties into what we were wanting to talk about is the social media and this age of technology and marketing and having to keep up with that. And what's that doing to the professional as a whole and the industry as a whole, and the integrity of it all. Is giving the masses what they want, which is like the visual entertainment and almost the pornification of our marketing now that has replaced actual, you know, education and empowering others with information they need.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are at this really interesting crux. You know, we had new tools come on, and when new tools come on, we don't know how to use them. Like, we don't. We're basically slightly elevated monkeys. So, I mean, dopamine,
Yeah.
awesome. Look at my ass. I mean, like, it's not surprising, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, with what has happened. It's just kind of the reality. But at the same time, like, we're at a crux. Like, the idea that we've pornified / overly sexualized the wellness industry, and we think by doing that we're making the world healthy, is just a bunch of bullshit.
It's a mask. You know? Yeah, you know, we hide behind the ass shot and the hashtag Fitspiration. You know, yeah, I think, yeah, it's just become a very thick mask that has perpetuated a lot of this body dysmorphia.
Yeah, on both sides. And I think that's the conversation that people aren't really having yet, that I'm really excited about. Is it's not only that we're disempowering our clients because we're putting on this perfectional ideal of like, this is what wellness looks like, and look at me being healthy, and oh yeah, sure, I eat pizza. Fuck you, you don't eat pizza. Like, let's all just be real honest about that. But at the same time, so we're doing that, and yeah, we know that social media like actually like makes people feel worse about themselves, creates this comparison community, you know, does all this stuff that we're not trying to do as wellness professionals. But the conversation that not being had is, what is it actually doing to the industry and the professionals in the industry? And it's making people crazy. I mean, I know it's so interesting to look. Like, I went and tried to look for, I want some real hard research on what is the rate of eating disorders in the wellness industry. There's one study. There's been one study ever.
That's interesting.
Like every time you Google search eating disorder and wellness industry, it's like, how do trainers talk to their clients that potentially have eating disorders? Do you know how many wellness professionals struggle with eating disorders and body dysmorphia, men and women? And now that we're turning it into this high aesthetics base, how crazy that has become, because all of a sudden, in order to be a pro and to get following, you need to take shirtless pictures and pictures of your ass. If we think that's making like a healthy balance for anybody on either side of the equation, I think we're just being like slightly delusional.
Yeah.
You know, it's really keeping client, you know, wellness professionals really sick, because then they feel like they can't be vulnerable. They can't really share the real deal, that they're struggling with body image issues. They're struggling with their eating habits. They're probably drinking. They may be addicted to Adderall, which is like, let's not talk about the amount of Adderall and uppers that people are doing to stay skinny so that they can maintain that body image. But then they want to have real conversations with their clients about their health.
Yeah.
It doesn't equate. Until you own what's going on with yourself, you're never really going to ask your clients the hard questions, because it turns that mirror back on you.
Yeah, I was with, you know, a conference for a long time, involved with a very well-known conference, and that covered nutrition mostly, and then it evolved into the fitness, and working with a lot of the speakers and coaches and teachers that would come from all over the world, you know, to be here, and authors. My observation over a span of 6 years that I was involved was just how sick they were. And in my experience, just off the top of my head, of those 6 years, there were 3 that came out in confessing that they had eating disorders, that they battled. I mean, and one was extremely obvious. Like, it was, you know, like, you cannot be here. Like, it is too obvious. And it's an absolute, you know, we can't be surprised by it, but, you know, we work ourselves to death trying to keep up with all of the, you know, the competition, and set ourselves apart from, you know, the thousands of others, and be unique and have a niche. And so I do identify with that, and I empathize with that. But at the same time, you know, we're preaching all this health, but putting a message out there that's very compartmentalized from what we're actually doing, then we're the sick ones, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was 10 years of my life. I mean, I had a raging eating disorder for 10 years of my life as a health professional, that everybody thought I was super healthy and super happy. But I mean, I was going home, making a bowl full of cookie dough and eating it by myself, puking it up, and then crying on the floor of my bathroom, like suicidal. Because guess what? I was so stuck in a shame hole that if anybody ever found out that that was the truth, that my livelihood, number one, would be gone. Number two, everybody, the shame police that I had, you know, next to my head going like, you're a fraud, you know, all that stuff was all going to come true, you know. But what people don't understand is actually through sharing those struggles as a professional, that allows you to relate on a real level to your clients, and will actually end up getting you the clients that you need to serve, you know, because of course we're fraught with eating disorders and body dysmorphia. Everybody goes into industry. Most people go into industry where they teach what they need to know. That's just how we are, you know?
Yeah,
and
that's true. Like, I learned the most from teaching. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
Just by teaching, I received so much just from teaching. Like, I learned just from the feedback I get, and that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's the calling of being in this profession. And you attract what, you know, who you are supposed to help.
Yeah, but you can only do that if you're actually being honest.
Yeah, taking the mask off.
Yeah, and so I think that's really hard for a lot of people to realize, you know. And right now, with where the industry has gone, it's like one of those things. It's like, but this is what I have to do in order to get the brands, in order to have the followers, in order to then get to the and I think we just need to think of a different way, a different paradigm to start with people, you know. Maybe it's less clients, maybe it's less of a following, maybe it's a higher price service, you know, like there's a lot of different ways where you don't need to have 150,000 followers on Instagram to have a sustainable business, and maybe that's actually not sustainable.
Right, and of those 150,000, like, how many are those clients, right? How many of those do actually fold into paying clients or customers, and what are you selling that's not, you know, side boob or, you know, your butt.
Slim tea.
Right. There was a quote like that, a National Geographic photographer, actually, I was reading about this, and he said that, he wrote about the pornification of the fitness industry on social media, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a visual person, so he's a photographer for National Geographic, and he's done a lot of shoots with athletes and stuff like that, and noticed like all their followers, and the trend of like the most followers and likes that they get are of the sexual appeal. And so those athletes tend to get the most branding, ambassador, sponsorships. And so what he was saying, what he noticed is, or what he said is, fitness professionalism used to be about knowledge and athleticism and deliverance, and like what you're able to deliver to the client and to the population you're trying to help. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's about recognition and fame. And so sadly now, mainly due to marketing campaigns, it's just totally the other way around. Now it's about fame and how much attention you can get, which seems to be like more of a mirror image of the social ills of society right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, I mean, it's sad to say, but marketing is always going to kind of be marketing. And so it's like, can you be real honest with yourself and separate and feel secure in knowing what your personal worth is? Because I think that's a big, huge tie to this, is like somehow you get this idea that all of a sudden, first off, that your business is your worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That your body is your worth, that all of this stuff is your worth, compared to like, I know that I'm in service. And I think that's another big break, is like, I need wellness professionals to freaking remember you are in the service industry. That is what industry you're in. You are of service to others. That is the whole reason, supposedly, you got into this business. It wasn't about promoting yourself. It wasn't about making your name the thing. It was about helping people.
We hope. Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully, and I think most well-intentioned wellness professionals, at least at the beginning, that was the reason.
Right.
And so if that is the reason, what are the levers in which you can do that best? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's great that you look good and you can set an example of your physicality for your clients. That's awesome if you're really actually living what you're preaching. But in the end, how can you be of more service to your clients every day? And I don't think that's from growing your social media.
Right. Yeah. And nowadays, the only way to do that is to push the buttons, further and further and further. And
yeah,
that it's that instant gratification, which, the harder you push it, that serotonin,
Oh yeah. All this.
We're just not satisfied with a squat right anymore. We gotta like see, the vulva now at this point. We have to, like, what's next?
You need a camera under the ass.
Yeah.
With the tights pulled up the butt.
Yes.
So that you can fully see the separated ass cheeks.
And the pore around the pubic hairs. Like,
yeah.
Like the buttons have to be pushed further and further. That's where I think it's headed at this point.
Yeah. I've been thinking about making like a spoof Instagram account where I like wear like a mask so nobody knows who I am, and then I do all the stupid shit that Instagram models do, like make eggs in your underwear, because that happens all day long. I'm just telling you, as a chef for 10 years, cooking with fire in your underpants with shit that can like pop on you is a bad idea. I'll just put that out there as a safety warning.
Alex and I were doing that with my daughter's Barbie the other day, because she took her into the bathtub, but she left her big stiletto heels on, and so she was just naked with her stiletto heels, and Alex just took her and bent her over, and he was like, she's like cooking eggs. And so we just started making, funny little poses, and it was just really funny. It was like, we should make like a Barbie Instagram of like just all the ridiculous, I've seen videos of, female trainers doing really great workouts, but it's only from the back. You can only see from the back, you know,
Yeah.
and so you don't see the spinal alignment of like how they're actually, you know,
Doing
set
it.
up and doing the exercise.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's A, like what a waste of a video. Like that was a great workout, and B, you know, what a disservice to those who are watching that could really benefit from that. Like they may go do that, but just like really fuck it up. And um, but then you see like all of the comments. And then you see a lot of, so speaking of wellness professionals who are very sick, starting with, you know, the mental emotional body, you see a lot of them who have a lot of influence, right, that could make a huge impact, but they're posting, you know, um, like for instance, you know, selfies all the time, you know, just with some sort of like vague description, like bad hair day, or I'm such a mess today. I didn't even have time to like brush my hair or put on my makeup or whatever. But the onslaught of comments, you know, are generally from, you know, men in, you know, Australia and India, right? Like just all these comments, you're so beautiful and all these things. Is that the illness? Is there an illness behind that? Is that the mask that is, you know, are we missing connection? Are we missing intimacy? Is there something we're lacking as professionals that lead us down that rabbit hole? Is it really about marketing, or is it really about connection and intimacy?
I think it's both. You know, the amazingness of the internet and how well they've done with these apps is that they've tied into all the needs that we have. Mm-hmm. You know, we want to feel connected, we want to feel validated, and then we want to make money. You know, it's like put it all in one little app. Oh my God, it's amazing. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, but Kale. It's really what?
Oh, Kale. Kale says hello.
Hi, Kale.
He's awesome.
Speaking
of nice asses.
Ew. Yeah. Speaking of nice everything, Kale. Good job. Yeah. Keep it up. High five to you.
Deadlifts.
Keeping it real.
Yeah. Tasting women. He's got an awesome woman there. Anyway, so the mask that is there, it's almost like it's hard to peel that mask off now, because it's like which is it? Is it, oh, I'm trying to keep up with branding and marketing and competition, but then if you take that away, there's almost like, but I still need this thing. Like, I don't know.
Completely.
Right? Like there's that connection and intimacy, the validation, the affirmation of like, I'm worthy, I'm okay. And then take that away. And so someone had asked me a long time, this was years ago when I first almost started in the industry, where I was feeling like that pull to be more sexual, when I was having photos done and photo shoots, and they want to just like makeup all over me. And it just, you know, my photos came out not even looking like me. And I was really upset about it. And, you know, I asked why all of that, you know, because my clients don't see me that way. They don't look at me like that. And that's not how I show up, you know. Mm-hmm. And they tried to explain to me, like, this is about how you brand yourself. You got to market yourself. You got to visual this and all that. And I said, but that's not, you know, I don't feel like I need to take my shirt off, like, and you know, wear the low cut thing. And long story short, don't want to use too much of this time, is like my shorts were fine. Why did I have to put the booty shorts on? And my tank top was fine. Why did I have to take it off and slap on all of this makeup? Because my business partner at the time, he didn't have to do that, right? Like, he didn't have to take his clothes off. They were just fine shooting photos of him jumping in the air, catching a football. Like,
but I'm surprised they didn't make him take his shirt off. I mean, because that's actually where it's gone now. It's not just women.
It's true. That is true.
Men in the fitness industry are, for the first time probably only, are feeling the real big pull to also sexualize their image, you know, to take it off, mm-hmm. to have the abs, to put all the baby oil. I won't mention what brand likes to use a lot of baby oil before they shoot every trainer working out, but it is crazy. Like, stop. the baby oil water thing. I'm like, you're not that sweaty or glistening. Nobody looks like that.
Or just go sweat, or just like go actually do a real workout and like,
yeah,
glisten.
you're just normal sweat is sweaty enough. We don't need to like have you full body glisten like you're wearing Soul Glow from head to toe.
Well, I just remember like in the very beginning, I was absolutely resistant to it because I felt like I didn't go to school for 12 years, after high school. Like and go to do all these continued education and clinical work and case studies and all these hours I put into like higher education, like, my butt crack didn't do that work, right? Like my titties didn't do that work. Like, why are they getting all the attention? Why do they need the spotlight? Like, fuck these guys. They didn't do that shit. Like, I did that stuff. Like, I should be, honored for that and given the voice for that and be recognized for that. Like, why my ass? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just always very offended by that. And I guess that's the little feminist in me that I've always been.
Yeah.
But those that get kind of sucked into that, I used to look at it very judgingly, and now I see it as almost a symptom of something. And I like, so I wanted to talk to you about it because I noticed, you were putting in a panel discussing this, and then I saw JP Sears' hilarious video.
Him in that thong, dude.
The owl pose. Oh my God. He's so good. He's so good.
He's so funny, man. We'll have to link to that video. If people have not seen it, it is hilarious.
Yes, how to get famous on Instagram. If you the JP Sears video, it's hilarious. Like, what do you think is a good answer? Some steps for professionals and authors and wellness, organizations and coaches, trainers, etc., to be able to uphold their integrity and deliver empowering information and coaching, but still maintain some sort of like competitive edge without getting sucked into the softcore porn of.
Yeah. I mean, I like that you say sucked in, because I think for a lot of people that's what it is. It is a slippery slope, because I've seen girls start and they slowly get pulled into it because they think it's the only way. The sad thing, or I mean, however you want to kind of look at it, it doesn't have to be sad, but like George Bryant, amazing business coach in the wellness world, built this awesome brand, Civilized Caveman. And he is bluntly honest about this. He's like, you want to take pictures of your ass, you're never going to have a brand that's about you, because you're not going to be able to sell anything. All your dudes are going to be men, like all your followers. It doesn't matter. Like, you can go down that slippery slope, but it depends on the brand. What are you selling? What's your brand? Like, what's your passion? And I think the number one step for everybody is you have to get crystal clear on knowing yourself. What are your values? What do you stand for? What are you in service of? Who are your clientele? And then tailor everything to that and go the long, slow road. Nobody wants to hear that, but that is the way it is. Build a sustainable brand. You need to just hone in on what do you actually stand for and what is your message, and completely go to that. Like, I am actually very girly. I freaking love makeup. I love heels. I like glitter. I like, unicorns, as you can see. I mean, I love all that stuff. I like taking fun pictures. Like, that is literally who I am. But I also am not going to go and like just plaster my butt on my Instagram page, because I have a deeper meaning. My buildup for my brand has been slower than people's.
Yeah.
I mean, people, it just has. I like do this slow, steady thing. I haven't done this. Maybe at some point I will. But the other thing is, I have plenty of clients. I don't need, like, what is your goal? How many people do you really need? Like, when is enough enough? Are you really posting that? Like, looking at every single thing you're posting and said, what is the outcome that I'm looking for in this? And if it's about you, think again.
So what is the outcome you're looking for? So what is the desired result of what you're actually posting? I mean, that's a good one, you know, because if you are a health coach or a trainer or an online coach or, you know, any sort of health fitness brand organization, and you're posting something, that's a good question to ask. Go look through your feed and look at several posts that you've made and ask with each post, like, what was my desired outcome with that post? That's a really good point. Because I bet I could even find some of my own posts as resistant as I am to that. I bet I could find some of my own where I could find a post that, you know, my desired outcome was affirmation or validation.
Yeah, I was feeling bad about myself that day. Needed a little upper, you know. I did this one video, which I actually think is hilarious, but it's in my bathing suit, which I have like a, you know, Brazilian cut swimsuit, and I'm on a boat and my ass is hanging out. Of course that fucking workout video got what, 10 times what my other workout videos get. Do you know how annoying that is? I mean, it's annoying to me, but when I post that and all of a sudden people were like, bing, bing, boom, 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 I love it. You look amazing. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm amazing. Yeah. That's all ego. It's very normal. But like trying to at least balance that out with like, what is your actual outcome that you're looking for? Because I think so many times we're in a bad space, or we know we're supposed to post something because God forbid people don't know everything that's going on in your life. We don't really sit back and think like, what am I really trying to, am I trying to educate? Am I trying to empower? Am I trying to connect with people? Like, what are your main outcomes that you're going for? And like making sure that those are aligned again with what is your value and who are the people that you're talking to? And is that going to bring that to them?
Yeah. I mean, after I had, you know, I'm not one of those, I have 3 kids. And so each time I get pregnant, I'm not one of those cute, like petite pregnant girls. I gained with each pregnancy, like on the button, 65 pounds. And I'm a short girl. So, and I don't gain it all in my hips and belly. I mean, like I had, like Alex will show you, I had fat rolls on my face. Like I would look down and it's like the Ursula, the sea witch. Like I'm not a cute pregnant woman. I'm really not. And it's funny because I go through these morphs and these transformations each time I'm pregnant, and of like, you know, how can I relate to my community and to my audience, and you know, because I'm not the image that I was before. And then post pregnancy, knowing what I know about the body and what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to rehabilitate after your body goes through that fucking magnificent, almost horrific and traumatic, you know, change. Like I can't just go put on my running shoes and go running. Like I know better. And I can't do that knowing that people are watching me, and I'm going to teach, you know, postnatal women not to do that. So, but I also want to just untie the fat suit and like be myself again. So there are these transformation phases where I I felt a lot of shame of not wanting to post photos of myself or be seen because of the way, you know, the online and, you know, marketing trends go. But the truth is, again, like you just being real and sharing your story and what you stand for. Like you said, like, what are your values? What are your principles? What do you stand for? And at that time, I stood for rehabilitating the right way and not having sexual dysfunction and peeing my pants for the rest of my life. That's what I stood for.
There's a good idea.
So it took me 9 months to lose weight, and I was impatient, but I knew I had to do it the right way. And that's, looking back, I'm glad I did it that way. But you know, when you see a lot of these, you know, like for instance, I don't know if I can turn the camera around, but like, you know, these ass challenges, the butt challenges, like squat challenges, and that's the images you get. And um, that's the imagery that we're like just so almost becoming desensitized to, and so that's part of our sex now. And that stays inside of us, I feel like. And it's not just women, it's men too, that I feel like have this dysmorphia and have this underlying shame of, I don't have six-pack abs and I don't look like that and I can't get a woman because of this, or my wife may not, my wife may be attracted to that man. There's just a lot of that going on. And I think, as you had pointed out, a lot of the illnesses in the health and fitness and wellness industry, the professionals, like, it may not just be eating disorders, it may not be just dysmorphia, it, you know, it's walking the walk, talking the talk, and walking the walk. You know, like you had brought up the Adderall and a lot of the supplements, and you know, one other thing that I wanted you to also touch on is the two things that a lot of professionals don't address with their clients, which I think is very important. And like, I just got a shiver up my spine when which is, you know, which is a sign I think is really important to talk about, is pumping out programs for workouts and diet and meal plans, and saying, like, you know, eat this many macros, or don't eat carbs, or do keto, or, you know, here's your A phase training, B phase training, and everything's just like down to the science, right? On how to work out, how many minutes you rest, you know, your breathing, all that, right? And like when you eat, what time you eat, how much you eat. And what do you think is missing there? I know the answer. I mean, I like really want to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's all mindset, dude. It's all the mental stuff. There's not one person on, okay, there probably is plenty, but there's very few people now that do not have access to a good eating program and a good workout program. There's 4 billion on Pinterest. I mean, you could just like Pinterest all day long. You would never have to have another recipe or an eating program. So why is everybody so unhealthy and so unhappy? Because it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. It's all the head game, you know, on both sides of the story, you know, on the wellness professional and the client, but nobody wants to have that real talk. I mean, if you're going home and drinking wine by yourself at night, if you're checking out on your phone, if you're not fucking your husband, if you're fighting every night with your kids, if you're miserable, if you look in the goddamn mirror and you break yourself apart, I don't give a shit how many squats you do. I don't care if you eat kale for every goddamn meal, do yoga and do your breath practice. You are an unhealthy, miserable bitch. And that's just the reality. And nobody wants to like say like, oh my gosh, like really, I'm supposed to talk about sex with my clients? Yeah, you are. Because it's an integral part of being a functioning human.
And if you don't know how, you should learn.
Yeah. Am I supposed to talk about what meds they're on? That they're taking sleeping medication and they're taking Adderall? That they're not dealing with their anxiety? That they're drinking every day? I don't care if you give me every macro that I want. If your client is a weekend party or Adderall taker, I don't care if they're a size 4. It doesn't matter. They're not functioning as a human and they're not happy.
Right.
And I think that is the conversation that should start everyone. Are you happy with where you are?
Right. And what's that going to
physically and emotionally? Yeah.
Because even if they're performing and if they've seen results and they're, you know, they've achieved a level of success in any programs that you may have delivered, whatever, it's nutrition, weight loss, you know, strength, performance, looking at the overall holistic picture of their lifestyle and their mindset, you know, their mental, emotional, spiritual health, and, you know, integrating those things all together, it gives you a good scope of how that's going to look in the future. How's that going to play out in the future? If they keep doing what they're doing now, even if they're reaching success, what's going to happen in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, continuing on this way? Because environments change, they're, you know, their biology changes, their chemistry changes, their needs change, their stress changes, everything changes. And so that they need to learn how to adapt and how to manage and deal with these things. And so if they are taking Adderall and drinking every night and avoiding their husband and avoiding intimacy and using like your programs and fitness and counting macros as actually a distraction to avoid actual shit in their life, then they're going to go balls to the walls for you, and you're going to feel validation as a professional. But sooner or later, they're going to be going so balls to the wall, they're going to be hurt, and then that's on you. And that injury is going to be on you. And so these are the things that I think when you brought that up, I was like, that's so important. So many of the professionals that I know and have known and worked with, collaborated with, and you know, in this industry and in the past, that's just something they completely overlook, and then will argue, you know, to the bone that that's not important. That's not our job. You know, it is our job. That's part of health.
And if it's not your wheelhouse, which it doesn't have to be, you need to have resources in which to help people. Because I get it. Like, some people just want to do nutrition and want to stay in that lane, and like they don't really want to worry about the other side. But you need to have that as a resource for clients, because they will their bad, if you have not dealt with their mindset, their bad patterning will repeat. It might not repeat in your 90-day program, but it will repeat at some point, and they're just going to go back into their cyclical behavior. That's what happens to people. People can keep it together for a little bit if they have not dealt with their shit. But at some point, something will tip the apple cart and they will throw themselves off again. And so trying to teach them like that cycle of recommitment, how do you change your relationship with yourself if it's not positive right now? How do you look at all the different aspects of your life and not only level up in health and wellness, but level up in everything? Because you don't want to have this skewed model of your life. You don't want to be, we've all known those people that are like amazing at business, and then their home life is like in the shithole, or, you know, or healthy, super healthy, but then their work stuff is falling apart. You know, like, we need to try to bring back this like holistic approach of like taking a real good inventory of where you currently are, and then like looking at how are you going to level up in all of those areas. And maybe you're not the person that's going to help them, but having resources for them to do that, I think, is a really integral part of standing in service to your clients, you know, of like really understanding what health and wellness. And the kickback that I get when I have this conversation, which I think is hilarious that I get kickback when I'm like, mental health matters. Like, we're still arguing about that, but is, well, yoga does help your mind, and eating healthy does help your mental and emotional state. 100%. 100. You will not, I am never agreeing that working out and eating healthy is not so important on you being mentally healthy, but you can't just do that and think that that's going to fix the issues. And I think for a lot of people, they think somehow they can work themselves out and diet themselves out of a bad mental state. And that is just not the case that I've found in my 15 years of working with people.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people, again, this is, you know, the common theme across not only the, you know, sort of the pornification of marketing and in the fitness health industry and social media and branding, and then now the messages that we're giving to our clients, how we're working with clients, and the missing message of mindset, spiritual, mental, emotional work, having resources. A lot of this, the common theme is like, we're depending so much on external. Like,
yes.
It's the internal shit that we're not allowing ourselves to connect to. And so, yes, yoga is great for the mind. It's great for the emotional and stress management. But when you leave yoga, what are you doing? Or how are you taking that with you? Right? Like, when you go to work, how are you taking yoga with you? Right? What are you learning in yoga that allows you to take that into work, or sitting in traffic and you just want to fucking just like rear end the asshole in front of you, and like you just want to pull your hair out when you're so stressed out? How are you integrating, right? Like
Yes.
we just compartmentalize everything in our life. And so when we go work out, we're this person at the gym, and then when we're on social media, we're this person, right? And then we go home, we're like that person, and like this person, and then we're with our friends, we're this person. And so we're that's just all our masks. We just put on our mask and go to a different place and have this mask and this mask, and everything is external. And so speaking of the mind and our emotions, mental, emotional, spiritual work, again, if that's not your wheelhouse, I like that. Have a little black book of resources. Get out in the community and network and find good resources that you can send clients to. Look at videos, read books, and have things that you can give them. Set up an affiliate account if you want to make some money off of it, but and give them, your Amazon link or something. But the connecting it to the internal and finding out why you do what you do and why you need certain outcomes that are sabotaging you in your life. Like that's where we are right now. It's not just it's not like, why am I not losing weight? It's, go deeper than that. Like, why am I doing the things that are causing me to gain weight?
Yeah.
And, why do I feel like my self-value depends on the way I look? And then backwards to all of the media and marketing. It goes into like between fitness inspiration and like fitness porn. It's the messages we see are like, you do this, you sign up for this, you take my program, you follow my meal plan, blah, 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 you'll look like this, or you could look like this. We are not seeing a whole lot of, you follow my program, in 3 months, your cholesterol could be this, or your resting heart, like, what about your resting heart rate or your blood pressure, or
walking in front of a mirror and not hating yourself, or
right.
waking up in the morning and feeling grounded, or feeling grateful when you lay down and not feeling stressed and anxious. Like, why? There's the sale. I mean, that's the sad thing. That's not the program that people want to buy. And so for some people, including myself, a lot of times the end is like, I'll help you become healthier. Sure, come to me. Tell me you want to lose weight.
Yeah.
And then we'll cry a lot and we'll talk about all of your shit.
Yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with the weight. We all know that it has nothing to do with the weight. When I tell people that, most people laugh, because I'll get people on the phone all day long and be like, I want to lose weight. And I'm like, why do you want to lose weight? Because I don't feel confident. Because my world has shrank. Because I'm not showing up for my kids, and I'm not showing up for my husband. Because I'm sucking at work. Because I feel depressed. Like, that's the real deal. That's what we're going after. But if you're not asking that question, if your clients are coming to you and saying, I need to lose 15 pounds, like, great, here's your eating plan. I mean, getting to the why is really important with people. Not only getting to the why so that they can hear it, because a lot of times people haven't gone any deeper than, I need to be a size 4.
Right.
They don't even understand that. And so it's your job to kind of help them see that. But it also will allow them, when and if they end up getting to whatever that goal, external goal is, it will allow them to actually feel accomplished and validated. Because if you do not like yourself as a size 8 or a size 12, if you are miserable, I will get you to a size 4. If you have not done the mental work, you will still be miserable. You will still hate your body, and you will still wish things were different. It happens over and over and over again. We chase the external and we think that's the thing, and we get there and it feels empty. Why? Because you weren't actually going for the thing. You were going for the emotion, but you did not do the work to figure out what that was.
And that goes to the professionals too. You take 100%. Away marketing, like, there may still be, like, if they've been doing it long enough, the need, right, for that validation, and that need to post a photo of, without a shirt on, showing their oiled up 6-pack, or the, you know, them doing squats, but from the rear, right? Like they're just still need to be like like I can't stop. I have to do it. I have to do it. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
that what's behind that, what is behind that, and that connection and that lack of bringing ourselves inward into ourselves and focusing too much on the external and what's outside of us. And that's really like just filtering the whole message of, like you said, what we came into the industries to do, like the altruistic reasons we came to do what we do. It's just getting filtered and watered down with all of these visual entertainment now, rather than the delivery of education,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And I think the internal versus external message is so important, especially on the coaching side. Is like, as a coach, if your thing is like you're giving them the answer, it's just like your kids helping them with homework.
Yeah.
Like if you give them the answer, great, they made 100, but they didn't learn how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really view my job, and I'm actually going to stop calling myself a coach, I think, and call myself a mentor, because I went through all this stuff. The only reason I can help you is because I have this other tools in my toolbox. We're going to just teach you how to do it so that you can do it for yourself, because you shouldn't need me.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't need me for the rest of your life, because guess what? You know what the fuck you need. Your body knows what you need. Your soul knows how to heal itself. You know how to validate yourself. You know how to bring self-worth. You've just forgotten.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's an act of remembrance for a lot of people to remember that they can trust themselves again, and that they know what's right for them if they just stop and listen. You know, and so giving people the space to do that, I think, is so important, and teaching them how to be their own wellness professionals. That's what they need to do. They need to coach themselves. They need to not need you forever.
That's
They need
also
to you be a resource.
that's a big thing too, in terms of like upholding some integrity, is teaching people how to not need you. And I know that's not great for, you know, financial security, but like there's endless amounts of people out there who need help all the time. And you know, if you've got someone coming back to you all the time and you're just giving them the answers, you know, no one knows anyone better than you. And
Yes.
you're a coach that's just telling them how to do it, when to do it, when to eat, how much to eat, you know, exactly what, you know, grocery lists and everything down to the, you know, little, you know, when to go to the bathroom. I mean, fuck. Like you're taking people so far fucking away from their own mind body awareness that they won't even know when to fucking pee on their own without you. And that's like a level of integrity that I think is very like detached as well. And
Completely.
I think a lot of professionals don't even know that. I don't think they're even really cognizant of it. And that's something we are very, like, we stand for, is the whole purpose of a lot of our programs, and why our business is so hard to scale, is because the amount of time we put into each program and each person, each individual. Hours. I mean, like hours. Each client and each patient of Alex's is another case study. Pretty much, it's like doing another clinical. And so, I mean, we study and investigate them and get to know everything about them. They're from the day they were born up until present day. We get to learn about their family, their internal dialogue, their perception of life, and their everything. And that was hours into everything so that we can guide them, not tell them what to do. We draw the map and we put little pins in and we say, here you go. And we guide them, because no one knows them better than they do, but they've become detached.
Completely.
And they need to reattach themselves to themselves. Like, they need to go back into who they are and get to know themselves, because they've spent too much time learning in school and having teachers tell them what to do, parents tell them what to do, bosses tell them what to do, magazines tell them what to do, everything telling them what to do, that they've lost touch with, like, just even hearing and learning cues from their body, you know?
Completely.
And that's that's the empowering thing that people need from coaches, from professionals, is like when to go like, oh, wait, that's off. That's okay. And I need to do this thing, right? Not, hey, I feel funny. I'm going to call this person, do. What do I do? It's like, you got to be your own coach. You got to be your own health guru.
Yes.
And, you know, but that was just something I felt like it was so important that you had brought up, is that just the overlooking of the mind body awareness aspect in this industry, and then like the mental emotional aspect of programming and coaching when working with clients and patients, and how that so well fits into our obsession with visual branding, and kind of that how it spiraled into just asses all over Instagram. Asses, you know, get a free pass to our new yoga class, and then what do thongs and knee socks have to do with fucking yoga? I mean, this is how they're getting people to come to yoga classes now. I don't fucking get it. And like Yogananda would just be like, what? You know,
what has happened?
What is happening? And so that be said, you know, I look at weightlifting, and I look at all the people who are coming into fitness and following a lot of these blogs and a lot of these influencers, and I'm happy just with that more people are, you know, gathering around the holistic model of health and fitness, and that makes me happy. I do see that shift happening.
It's happening, and I think a biggest, you know, we kind of talked about it at the beginning, but I think for a lot of people, they didn't really know that there was another way. You know, they kind of followed the model that was working, you know, and kind of a lot of people, I think, have gotten into it and now realize it maybe feels empty and is not doing what they thought it was. But I think we need, as an industry, to kind of, I think we're up leveling kind of together. And so setting better examples for people of like, this is another way to build a brand that is financially successful, that feels fulfilling, and is actually reaching the goal of positively impacting your clients' lives. This is what it looks like. Not only that, there's actually longevity behind it, because the one thing that makes me super sad is the sexuality and the people that have kind of gone down that road. That's a short road, because there's 100,000 girls right behind you,
right,
with better assets that are 10 years younger. And so, you know, it's real scary turning 30 for those women, because you haven't really built a business that's based on substance in yourself.
Right.
And so I think there is a way out of that, but I think that's scary for people to kind of shift brand. But yeah, the up leveling, I think, of the culture is changing. There are so many smart people doing cool shit right now in health and wellness. I mean, we are on the brink. Like, it's hard for people to really get it. I mean, y'all are so next level. You and Alex are like genius zone on wellness in so many ways, and Paul Chek. But we're still at infancy of understanding our health and wellness as humans. We barely get it.
Yeah.
Like, we are like we just started. I mean, we're going to look back on 10 years of stuff that we're telling people to do now as like bloodletting. You know, like people are like, y'all are real dumb. Y'all were real dumb, but we're just doing our best. But it's that continuous collaboration, and then not holding too tight to what you know is true right now, and not invalidating too much to like what you think is complete and utter hooey. You know, like, follow the science, but also have a little forethought to like see who is pushing the edge. Follow those people and be like, because some of the shit that Paul Chek said 10 years ago, people thought he was a lunatic. I mean, people are like, that guy is like, he has lost his mind. You know, when he changed everything and went like off, everybody was like, that guy's a Looney Tune. Bye-bye, Paul. Guess what? Everybody's circling right back around and be like, that guy's a genius. No shit, he's a genius. That guy is the Yoda of wellness. That guy is so next level.
They made fun of him so bad with the Swiss balls
Yeah.
the physio balls and trying to in the core training and called him a pussy and just like it's so funny. Everybody uses a Swiss ball now. There's no gym, no program class, anything that doesn't have a Swiss ball in it now. Like it's just so funny. And he's and it, you know, I wouldn't call us geniuses. I wouldn't say we're extraordinarily smart. I like to read, but I love going to school. And in fact, I've had to like back off. That tends to be my, you know, one of the 4 addictions that our society has. Mine is the need to know, and I've had to back off that. But I'm not a genius because what we teach is really fucking basic, really basic shit. Is like, and so what people have a hard time with what we teach them is understanding that it isn't hard, and that's what's very difficult, and is conveying and getting that through is how not hard it is to.
But it's also really deep, and I think for a lot of people, they're so nervous about being that vulnerable and open with people, both on the coaching level and on the client level. Is like, oh my God, what are they going to ask me?
Yeah.
Like, how honest do I really have to be?
Yeah.
But you know, I think we, you know, we should all be really excited. You know, as much as I think that where we currently are is not the most positive, I do think that there's an upswing happening, you know, and so just us really standing in those values and like setting an example for everybody moving forward, I think it's just really important as an industry.
Yeah. And you had said, you know, and I noted the time so that when we make the show later out of this, you know, I'll write those down. But, you know, ways to really uphold your integrity as a professional, as a coach, or as a brand, you know, decide what you stand for, know your values. And then what were the other ones? You know, what you stand for, what are your values?
I don't remember what I said.
Really going off on a tangent, though.
I probably was. I like tangents.
Yeah, I mean, they were good. But it was, you know, principles and values and knowing what you stand for and really sticking by those. And I think that's really important.
And being of service. I mean, you know, and I think a big thing is being of service.
Service.
You know, remember being of service. Like, really stand your values, know what your principles are, and what are you actually going for? Like, what is the point of this? Yeah. Like, what is the point of this post? What is the point of what you're doing? What is the point of that event? Like, who are you talking to? Like, knowing that and getting crystal clear on what that looks like, integral to having like a really successful business. And then not only successful financially, but successful for you emotionally and spiritually and on a very personal level, because this is a deep personal work business that we're in. Like, holding space for people to be healthy is spiritual work. It really is. Allowing people to be healthy and show up as their best selves is transformative in people's lives, and treat it as such.
It takes a lot of energy, and you got to honor that. You got to take care of yourself in order to be able to hold that space for people. And what a lot of people out there don't know about me is that I haven't trained since October 2017. I had to stop training. I've been under a whole lot of stress, but you know, my family's been through a few tragedies, traumas this year, and I have to walk the walk. When I see clients coming in the door and they've got, you know, a scroll of all this stress and disease, the first thing I tell them is, you're not going to fucking work out anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you a program to work out. And if weight loss is your goal, then working out is not how we're going to get there. And, you know, that's really hard for especially women to get. And
type A people.
I got to walk the walk. And so I miss that, because working out and training is a big part of my professional ego. And, you know, I haven't been taking on new clients either, because again, like I said, you got to hold space and you got to be healthy to hold space. And right now I am not at my top form of health. And so, I'm like at my lowest weight in years. And so, so that said, like, just all honesty, all like transparency, be real, be truthful. If you're struggling, it's okay to let them know. Don't pretend like you're not struggling, that you didn't sleep last night, and that, you know, you're following all the rules of the program that you're giving. It's, you know, it's what I see is a lot of like professionals and influencers who are crash dieting, taking Adderall, a lot I know that are doing cocaine even.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah. Don't worry.
all the
I know
supplements
this.
and all of the, you know, eating disorders and tanning beds and teeth whiteners and, you know, you name it, like that they do to look the way they do. And then they're posting a picture of them just like shoving pizza down their face, ha 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 ha, on, you know, that's not what they do. They're not eating pizza. They're definitely not eating pizza. And the message that sends is absolutely like perpetuating a lot of this like dysfunction and shame and disorder and confusion amongst those we're trying to help. And
completely agree.
Amongst that, with the last thing I was going to sort of touch on very briefly before we wrap up is, speaking of that, sort of the sexualization and the pornification and sort of this in within the industry. You've been to many conferences, you've been a speaker, you yourself are an influencer in the industry. That said, not allowing yourself to be fully warped into all of that, you've definitely witnessed a lot of the harassment, a lot of the gender inequality, a lot of the bro culture. And I'm sure you may have witnessed on the other side, to be fair to men, women who kind of use their sexuality to
all day long,
you know, blindfold the men and get them in. And so how much of that do you think is really hurting the industry as well?
I mean, I think it's really first off, I got to tell you something. I'm terrified my phone's going to die because I can't see the battery, but I got a 10% warning.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know where we are. So if I go black, that's okay. What I went. Yeah, I mean, it happens in a lot of industries. I was in the culinary industry before the wellness industry. I mean, I was in the wellness industry, then the culinary industry, then back to the wellness industry. So basically, like the most overly sexualized, sexually charged industries, I think, on the planet. It happens all the time. I mean, it happens all the time. It's changed. I do think there, again, is a shift occurring. I think women finally have gotten to a point of enough power in a lot of circumstances where people are watching and people are like, that's not going to happen anymore. For a long time, you just had to take it because if you weren't, you were blacklisted. I mean, there's just like, what? You can't take a fucking joke? You can't take a joke? You know, like what? You're the one in spandex, you know, and I will not lie for a second and won't say in my 20s, that's how I freaking made my business, man. I was a cute 20-year-old trainer and trained 40 and 50-year-old men. Why? Because they wanted to show up to a 20-year-old in short shorts.
Right.
It made me a lot of money.
It was an equal,
you know, and so I used it. I did. But I remember when I came back and rebuilt my business and had this like huge sigh of relief saying like, oh my God, I'm so happy I don't have to do that anymore. Like I didn't realize like what a stress it was on me that I like had put myself out there as like my sexuality is my thing. And like now I work with mostly women, mostly in their 40s. I do have some male clients, but it's just a completely different dynamic because I don't allow myself to do that anymore. But I used it. I used it as a tool for my 20s and half of my 30s, probably, you know, good way into my 30s. But as an industry, you know, it's hard when we're so physical and we like our bodies and we tend to be very outgoing and we're kind of this, and it's kind of a party culture in general. Like people like to have fun and party, and you put adults and some alcohol and maybe some drugs in a room and stuff is going to happen, you know? And I think only until the last few years, number one, men are definitely have their backs a little more against the wall and are, I think, questioning, at least some of them are like thinking twice before acting inappropriately because they don't want to be publicly called out, which is what's been happening. Women, on the other hand, I don't know that a lot of women want to own our side of that equation. And we had a freaking unbelievable video about that. Our Me Too conversation,
Yeah,
when that shit hit the fan last year, it was awesome
yeah,
because it's a two-way street.
it really is.
You know, everybody wants to put it on guys that guys are disgusting and guys are animals or guys are this or guys are that. It's both sides. We've created that dynamic as women, and until we want to own our side of that equation, it will never change. You want to use your sexuality to get ahead, but then get pissed that dudes do that? I'm sorry. That's it. That's it's a double-edged sword. You can't have it both ways. You have to stand in your worth. You can own your sexuality. You can be pretty. You can wear makeup, but then using your sexuality is a completely different thing.
Yeah, you have to be responsible for it. I for one, like, I love looking at bodies, women and men. I mean, it's to appreciate the human body and just the sexiness of it, the masculinity, the femininity. I think there should be no shame in nudity. There should be no shame in sexuality. And I think there should be no shame in like expressing it, looking at it, appreciating it. Revealing it, whatever, but there's responsibility, because what you put out and what you express is, there's a whole world out there, and that's you, what you put out there, you cannot take back. And you are responsible for your body. Yes, you are. This is your autonomy. You're like, this is your body, but you have to be responsible with it. And I think, like you said, women have a hard time, like, men do feel like their back is against the wall now, and they are starting to stand up a bit straighter. Women, as you said, on the other hand, are having a harder time because they're still in that like phase of outrage, and having a harder time taking accountability for that shadow side of using sexuality, because I don't think they actually see their own shadows of how they manipulate with their sexuality. They know that they get attention with it. And if it's the wrong attention, then suddenly they're angry, or suddenly they're victims. And it's just, our problem is we don't teach each other or our children or our daughters or women in general how to be responsible with that sexuality and how to handle and manage it. And so a lot of rebels without a cause out there are just, going to festivals and just, look at me, I'm just so free, and I own it. And then bam, they don't know how to manage it. And yeah, going to these conferences and these fitness conferences, so many of these trainers and professionals, they want to get a leg up, and they feel like they're in a culture that in order to get that in order to get to the top of the list, or to get front of the line, you've got to show a little side boob, or you've got to flirt a little bit. And that sort of seems to be the way, like, that it's just so known in the industry. And when you do that, and then it gets to going too far, then there's another level of, like, there's just so much outrage, and then careers are ruined, and reputations are ruined, and who's at fault, right? And not to say that that's what happened here with Alan Aragon, and I talked to you a little bit about that, but I used to worship this guy 10 years ago, when I was, 8 years ago, when I was really first starting out with the nutrition side of things. And smart guy. And a few years ago, I kind of stopped following him because he's just too broy. But and it just came out, like 3 women came forward that he sexually harassed and assaulted them at conferences, and they came out. And as they came out, lots of other people came out and said, yeah, that's kind of been known behind the curtains, for years, that he's like that. And it's like, really? Like, and that's just allowed. Like, people just allow it because he's famous, and he's a, fitness guru, fitness celebrity, or nutrition scientist celebrity, or whatever. And he's got all these books and whatever it is, like, that's excused. And so, it's just crazy that now that that's coming out, all these people are like, yeah, he's just been like that for a long time.
I mean, that's just like the film industry. That's just like the culinary industry. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Chiarello, everybody was super shocked that Michael Chiarello was a complete predator weirdo. No, everybody knows that about him. You'd go to food festivals and people are like, make sure you don't get in an elevator with that dude. He's creepy. Like,
Whoa.
you know, like that's just the reality. You know, it's like, but I was like, and nobody says anything.
And
Like, there's not like somebody like being like, maybe, and then of course now all of a sudden it all comes out, and now they're disinviting him from food festival, you know. And I think this will slowly happen. Hopefully we'll weed out the complete assholes, but and give people room for redemption if that is a valid place that they want to go. Mm-hmm. You know, if people, I do actually believe that people can make big mistakes and have really bad patternings and need a giant correction from the universe, and then hopefully can redeem themselves by healing themselves and come out, you know, as a different person and realize that there's a different way. I don't like to demonize anybody for behavior, you know, because, and say that there's no redeemable action, because I hope you know, there's forgiveness for all.
Yeah, I think Alli's phone may have died. So we were just about to wrap up anyway. So I was just going to end on that note that kind of following up on what she said, that in referring to Alan Aragon, I also agree. Like, I don't like to demonize anybody's behavior, because behavior, and that, you know, everything comes from, you know, pain. Anger always comes from pain. Aggressiveness comes from pain. And so just as an industry as a whole, looking at it holistically, like all of that is a symptom. And I just really hope that I'm sad for all of the people who are affected by what he did, and now his family, and, you know, a lot of the people who were depending on him for, like, you know, events and book deals coming up, and things that are being published soon. Now, you know, it's all these things are scrambling now. But the good side of it is, when you flip that coin, is just how much of a wake-up call this can be. This guy was just at the top of his game and now has lost everything. And so I think a lot of men and women in the industry are looking at that and going like, well, fuck, I don't want that to be me. And so if you're on your way up, or you are up there, like, just let that be a lesson to you. And if you're a professional in the industry and you're trying to scale your way up there, let this be a lesson to you, man or woman. You know, be responsible and be accountable for how you are not only behaving, but the message that you're putting out there, and the delivery of that message, and the way you brand yourself. Because with technology today and marketing today and competition today, setting yourself aside as a unique individual and coach and professional with a niche, you have to be online, right? And so just be accountable and be responsible with your message. And like Alli said, each time you say something, put something out there, plan something, have an event, post something, always ask, like, what is my desired outcome for this? Is it about you, or is it about the people you're trying to help? And I think that's a really good takeaway message that she had, of like upholding your integrity in this industry as a professional, and really deciding like what do you want to stand for. Like, make a list. I stand for this, right? And like, stand by that and live it, word and in action. You know, your thoughts, words, and deeds, they should all be aligned. They should all be the same. Think, you know, do what you say and say what you think, all the same. And then have your set values and principles, and stand by them. I think a great ass is nice to look at. But she made a good point too. You know, what happens when you build your brand based on, you know, videos and photos of your ass in a thong, and then you turn 30, 40 years old? Like, what are you going to do? Because there is a stream, thousands, millions of girls who are turning 20 that have a nicer ass than you. And now what are you going to do? when that is your brand behind you, and you've now got, you know, a bunch of asses that look way better than you. So, um, and yeah, decide why you started in this industry, and stick to that, and understand who you're trying to help, and deliver your message to those people. Um, are you looking for fame? Are you looking to help people? Are you looking to get more likes? Or are you looking to make a living helping to empower other people with their health and happiness and longevity and life vitality and performance? Are you helping people deadlift heavier, or are you helping to get your Instagram account to get more followers, you know? So that's the takeaway. And so we're going to edit this video down into an MP3, MP4, and we'll have some graphics and overlays with links and resources, and it'll be a bit more like educational. So we'll post those up on the website and on our Facebook pages tomorrow as well as next week. So look out for those. Thanks. Mwah. Thank you, Alli. I know your phone died, but just wanted to say thank you. We're signing off, and I love you. I always love to have you on here, and we should do a follow-up on our Me Too one, because that was a great conversation. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Alex and I are going to do a Facebook Live following up on this one, on kind of staying true to what your story is and what is your story, and being transparent as a coach and who you are. And see you guys tomorrow. Bye.